Yo, check it, got that new fire straight from the underground. What you need? This that real hip hop.
You know, with there being cameras and videos all around the world, a bunch of stuff that gets caught on camera, we really never see. But somebody compiled one, and I gotta watch it. It's the 20 biggest ship collisions and mistakes caught on camera. Let's tune in, bro.
You'd think that vehicles colliding into each other is the sort of thing that only happens on roads, cars crashing into each other, you know. Sadly, that makes sense, but the truth is it also happens at sea. These are the 20 biggest ship collisions and mistakes caught on camera.
This is gonna be a little different, man. Because I was just on a boat. That
Number
was my first
20.
time getting on a boat.
Two ships collide in Mediterranean near Corsica. Just how, in the whole of the flipping Mediterranean Sea, can two ships manage to crash into each other? It really beats the ship out of me. Apparently, that's exactly what happened to these two vessels, though, as they were sailing near the French island of Corsica in 2018. The collision would occur between a Tunisian vessel and a Cypriot ship, causing a huge kerfuffle and spilling a whole mess of pollution into the water, which stretched for 4 kilometers. It's not exactly an ideal situation, but their nearby countries of France and Italy responded quickly and sent ships to assist with the cleanup operation. The two cargo ships collided about 20 miles off the coast of the island when the Tunisian vessel named Ulysses ran straight into the anchored Cypriot vessel CLS Virginia. Luckily, nobody was injured in the crash, but it did cause a catastrophic mess and inflicted a lot of damage on both ships. Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button, and click the notification bell right now, or this centipede will crawl on your face when you're sleeping.
Fear-mongering, bro.
Now it's time for the sweet topic. In this extraordinary footage, you can see a giant aircraft carrier launching into the sea. The reason why we picked this as our sweet topic is because it's not technically a ship collision caught on camera, but what we want to talk about is just how terrifying it would be if something like this did go wrong. The devastation would be insane. As always, comment down below with the hashtag sweet topic and let us know your opinion in relation to what we just showed you on the screen. Number 19. Cruise ship crashes into tourist boat in Venice. Cruise ships have long been a bone of contention in the historic city of Venice in Italy. These unsightly behemoths have been allowed to pull right up to the ancient water-perched place for years, disgorging passengers into its canals and streets and generally making a nuisance of themselves.
I never knew that. I never knew a cruise ship could go to Venice. Like, that close. Didn't know they, I'm used to, I guess, American cruise ships.
When one of the colossal ships caused a collision with a local tourist boat, that was the last straw for the mayor of Venice. He stated that there was no longer a place for these large vessels within the city, and they would have to take a new route, effective immediately. When a massive cruise ship is moving, it takes a really long time for it to stop, sometimes many, many miles. So something as flimsy as a tourist boat, or even a dock for that matter, isn't going to. It's going to keep on going until it either crashes into something big enough to stop it, or until it runs out of oomph. The trouble here, though, is that nothing anyone can do about it until it happens. So all that remains is to watch in horror as the huge ship slowly plows into the tiny dock, and the people on the smaller boat in front run away in fear as the slow but inevitable collision continues. You then have to wonder, though, what the heck the captain of the cruise liner was even doing. They really need to learn how to handle their ship.
What does that say? Grandi Navi?
Number 18. New build Symphony provider gets stuck during launch. Now here's something closer to an actual ship launch blunder. Finally, something we can all get behind and get a jolly good soaking from if it ever launches, that is. To be honest though, sometimes stuff goes a bit wrong, but it's actually not terribly exciting, and it certainly doesn't warrant anyone getting all dramatic about it. This is a case in point. This ship was all ready for launch, everyone was waiting with anticipation for that satisfying slide and splash, and then they pulled all the pulleys and levers and there was a big fat nothing. No clattering down the ramp, no worrying wobble, no splash, no tidal wave. All in all, a bit of a letdown.
Did what it
What
was
appears
supposed to
to have
do.
happened is that the bow of the ship got stuck even though the stern was well on its way. And this happens. Things can't always run perfectly in synchronicity, I suppose. But as the ship slips, the hydraulic pins that hold the thing in place had malfunctioned in the bow end, and that threw a spanner in the works. Luckily, ships have been launched since before there was such technology, and some bright spark in the shipyard managed to give it a manual twiddle and set everything nicely on its way in the end. After all,
Is that like
there's nothing
dock
wrong with a
word?
bit of manual tugging to finish things off satisfactorily. That's how you handle
Sir.
your ship.
Sir.
Number 17. Container ship crashes into crane. It's a
Right, this should be
hazardous
good.
old place out there
Well,
in the
not good,
docks
but you
and
know what I
shipping lanes of the world. There's
One
always
thing.
some booby traps and distinctly dangerous driving incidents just waiting around every corner. But
I
in
know,
this case,
Bridge.
the massive container
Isn't
ship
that in
wasn't
France?
around any kind of bend, but rather just headed straight for the dock and the crane that was sitting on it. This dangerous accident occurred in the port of Busan in South Korea when a large container vessel seemed to lose its line and began heading
it's
at
going
speed
down,
in
it's
an
going down.
inevitable and potentially deadly beeline towards the dock.
They flipped the video.
Now, this is not something that anyone
Yeah.
wants to see, that's for sure, but if you happen to be sitting up there in a crane, then it's more likely than not a little bit alarming. The crane was the main victim of the collision.
Crane workers, if you're a crane worker, I've always had this one thought about crane workers. Do you guys have parachutes in the crane? Like, just like as an emergency getaway. Is there a parachute up there with you? Like, is that part of training to learn how to use a parachute? God forbid you have to jump, but at least you have a parachute, right? Like, or is that just, I'm just reaching? That's not a thing. I don't know if that's a thing.
And the crane operator, who was apparently inside, was lucky to escape with only minor injuries. When you consider the number of ships trundling up and down these shipping lanes,
How did
it's
he
kind of
escape?
remarkable that there's not a constant bumps and scrapes happening all over the
He's
place,
not all the way
not
up
to
there. I'm
mention
pretty sure he's
head-on
in the little
crashes
white
like
box
this
part.
one. It's a tricky thing to steer a boat. You really have to know your ship. Number
There's a
16.
lot of good shit.
Cargo
puns.
ship 1 Apus loses more than 1,800 containers in Pacific storm. The Japanese container ship called 1 Apus had a very blunderous time of it all in late 2020
That's
when,
product,
during a
people.
big storm,
There
she
are
accidentally
things
shed a
in that
massive
container.
load. The second biggest cargo loss ever recorded in all of shipping history, so that's kind of saying something. During the incident, the ship lost a gigantic total of 1,816 containers from her cargo, while a violent storm raged all around her in the Pacific Ocean. This is a huge number of containers to be lost in a single moment, and it makes you wonder just how well any of these things are actually attached to the ships in question. Are they just plopping off the sides of boats all over the show? Well, actually, of the 226 million containers that are shipped globally every year, about 1,000 of those end up being lost. As a percentage, it's kind of tiny, a mere
It is.
drop in the ocean even, but it does mean that there's
That's
potentially the
funny.
contents of those
Check out these puns, people. But no, honestly, they rely on the weight of it to hold it in place. It's that type of thing. It's a science thing more than anything, or physics rather. I'm gonna say that's physics. Yeah, it's the weight of the containers that holds it in place. They don't strap them down all the time or bolt them down. It's not like that. It would be cool if it was, I think, but then I guess when the ship starts tossing about and things start happening, you shed the weight, you stabilize. If you don't, you top over. So, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. But real quick though, do people go hunting for those cargo ships? Like, if you heard that a cargo ship lost cargo, and you like just so happen to have like a personal submarine or something like that, like you're one of those deep sea divers, would you go and see like what was lost? And if it is lost at sea and reclaimed by you, is it now yours?
Those
Hmm.
massive truck-sized boxes just floating all about willy-nilly. Number
Hmm.
15. Ship launch gone wrong almost crushes dock worker in
Oh
Netherlands.
no.
Well,
Definitely gotta watch this
mercifully,
one.
this is a ship launch that went right and only nearly went horribly wrong, but it was a hairy moment, that's for sure. The 90-meter-long cargo ship called the Tasman was launched at a shipyard in the Dutch town of Hoogezand back in February of 2019.
Hoogazad.
The massive vessel was
I didn't
up
see
on the
anything wrong
frame
there.
while the dock workers pulled the correct machinery to allow it to slide down the tracks and then make its appearance in the water. Plenty of people had gathered to watch, as is customary with a ship launch. It's also pretty fun since these big boats make quite the show of it for the crowd. And as the dock workers began to remove the ropes and the ship started its pre-launch wobble, a worker was in a really precarious situation right beneath the sliding 3,000-ton ship. His quick reflexes allowed the man to roll out of the way and narrowly avoid being crushed. You can almost hear the whole crowd collectively ship themselves. Number 14.
All right.
Newly built cruise liner has hit a bridge in eastern China. Now, this one's just plain embarrassing.
Now
One
that's
of the
gotta
big rules
suck.
when driving your brand spanking new ship around is to make sure that it's going to fit wherever you're trying to put it. So this blunder
Duh.
no doubt had a few people sporting a rather fetching red complexion. The brand new cruise ship named Pearl Number 7 was soon to discover that it might not have all the luck that's implied by its number. Straight out the gate, the shiny new vessel encountered a rather public difficulty when the captain managed to steer the ship right into a bridge. Ouch! Two of the ship's funnels were unceremoniously squished, and the boat got a teensy bit dented in the process. Now, it's bad enough if you clobber your old truck in the infamous 11'8" bridge in North Carolina. You know, the one that peels the lids off of trucks as if they were cans of sardines. But if you're driving about in a $44
Never heard
million
about that.
cruise ship, then you had better have a very good excuse indeed. Fortunately, no one was hurt, and even the traffic on the bridge didn't appear to notice. That says a whole lot more
When he built the boat and they built it where they built it, they knew that bridge was there. Why were specs not checked?
about the structural integrity of the bridge than it really does the captain's navigation, though. Number 13. Fears raised before $10 million yacht capsized. Sometimes these things do actually go horribly wrong, much worse than a splashed local celebrity. This launch
It's
went
gone
completely
wrong.
belly up and in a boat that's not in a desirable position. Back in 2014, there was a fancy $10 million yacht that was due for launch, and it was all
Okay.
ready to go. The champagne had been duly smashed on its side, the clapping had commenced, and the vessel was being slowly lowered down a ramp towards the harbor.
It's already bad. It's already bad.
It
It's
turns
already
out,
bad.
though, that this particular method of launching a boat of this size and scale is not really the best approach. In fact, the original project manager had raised many concerns that the high profile of the yacht would make it too unstable during its launch. So it should have come as no surprise when the whole flipping thing slowly and inevitably tipped over as soon as it was launched. The team worked all evening and apparently managed to right the vessel after its blunderous beginnings. Number 12. Massive 13-story ship crashes into ritzy Newport Harbor.
13 stories?
When you're out in your 130-foot tall galleon, you really need to keep your wits about you. You know, watch
okay.
what you're
All right.
doing, because you are driving a big boat, and you shouldn't forget it. We've all been there, though. It's Sunday morning in Newport Harbor in Rhode Island. You're a little bit fuzzy-headed from some boat-based shenanigans the night before, and not really giving your absolute full attention to the task of steering the ship. It's easily done, but the trouble is that your
Driving,
galleon
maybe?
is a ruddy great big ship, mate, and if you're having trouble parallel parking that bad boy,
No,
then it can
no.
easily go from a red-faced moment to a 4-boat pileup. And that's going to put a dent in your wallet as well as your fancy
Yeah, it
old
is.
boat. The somewhat ironically named SSV Oliver Hazard Perry was the vessel in question. It seemed to be struggling with a combination of windy conditions, a bit of rope, and an engine situation, along with a general lack of common sense.
Just to have a boat like that, bro, you know the maintenance on that
there
is
clearly
crazy.
isn't any room for all these boats in one spot. Is this a battle for the best parking space next to the clubhouse? Or perhaps it's just a revenge boat-off on account of a rude comment about somebody's choice of deck shoes. You know how easily these things do get out of hand, right? Number 11, 1,100-foot-long container ship crash into a ferry dock. Bringing a big ship into dock is a very tricky operation, and we probably don't quite realize just how much skill and practice that such a maneuver might take. It's easy to sit here in our office chairs and point the finger in judgment, but could you park a container ship?
No, I could not. Even in a video game,
Go
I'm
on
not
then,
good at driving
give
boats.
it a go. I dare you. Anyways, here we are again with yet another massive whoopsie in the berthing operations of a colossal container ship, and this one makes a massive mess. It was attempting to dock at the port of Santos in Brazil when it collided with the whole docking area and destroyed the lot in one huge shipload of blunders. This particular crash was actually bad enough that they had to shut down operations for a short while to figure out what had happened and to tidy up a bit. So that also caused a massive traffic jam all along the shipping lane behind. These things are finely tuned operations which, although slower moving, are kind of like the choreographed dance of the air traffic control tower in a busy international airport. Nobody was hurt in the incident, but the ship suffered some fairly major damage in the form of a breached hull and a lot of leaking ballast water. The ferry dock itself, though, was more than slightly dented. It would be reasonable to say that it had the ship beaten out of it. Number 10. Ship hits massive crane, sending it crashing down on cargo containers at Taiwanese port. Here comes another crane. It's beginning to seem as though when cranes and boats get involved with each other, the results are messy at best, and when they get really bad, they're bordering on the
You ever seen a boat that carries boats?
Oh, and usually the ship wins. So it should come as no surprise that the massive container ship that seems to be having a little bit of trouble parking in this Taiwanese port is going to have a run-in with the close-by crane. That's right.
Look at the size of these people compared to the size of this destruction.
Even though it's completely inevitable and everyone watching can see exactly what's going to happen, there's nothing that anybody can do to stop it. That's really what makes all these videos such fun, isn't it? Which part do you naughty viewers enjoy the most? Is it the anticipation as the ship scrapes noisily along the dock? Or is it the satisfying impact and total collapse of the crane at the end? There's no judgment here. Everyone is a bit of a perv after all.
I'm not even gonna lie. It's the fact that it's
Number
such a
9.
big-scale disaster.
A stuck container ship is causing a traffic jam in the Suez Canal. Back in 2020, when we all had little to do but scroll through the internet and make hasty and ill-considered online purchases from our suddenly sofa-bound lives, there was a tiny little incident in one of the world's most important shipping routes. And goodness me, did it cause a right kerfuffle. I mean, nobody could buy a lawn chair for love nor money for literally months.
Huh?
So other than being a massive inconvenience to the garden lounging ambitions of many landlocked individuals, what was actually going on out there in the Suez Canal? Well, as it turns out, the whole backed up months-long slowdown of shipping was caused by one little shipping container which managed to get itself well and truly wedged diagonally across the whole of the canal. Whoops! That must have been rather embarrassing. The ship, which was named the Ever Given, was a 13-foot-long container ship. She ran aground during high winds and poor visibility that was caused by a sandstorm, and it took a whole boatload of teams to attempt to refloat the vessel, and in the end, the traffic jam that built up behind her in the Red Sea caused a backlog in shipping that was felt throughout the world for months on end after the event. It does make you think about how fragile that supply
I think I remember when that happened. Y'all remember when there was like just backlogs of shipping? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember? I had a car, I ordered wheels and tires. Um and yes, they are two different things. I ordered wheels and tires and it took them like 8 months for me to get my stuff because they said it was coming from a oh my God. I think I remember when this happened.
Supply chain really is, and how much the global network is relying on very few narrow shipping channels to keep supplies intact. Although,
That's
really,
crazy.
you can live without a sun lounger, can't you?
Nah,
Number 8.
nah, I need that.
Russian cargo ship crashes into bridge in South Korea. If it's not cranes getting in the way, then it's those pesky bridges spoiling the party for everyone. I mean, what the
So
heck is
yeah,
going
how?
on here? It is clear to anyone that this ship is never going to fit under that bridge. Just look at the size of it. It seems
Why
pretty
are you
likely
still
that the
going
ship's
that way?
captain would have realized that at some point in the run-up to this collision as well. But you know by now, when a ship is going forward, it takes more than stomping the brake pedal to get it to stop. And frankly, a massive cargo ship to turn at any speed is no picnic either. There is, of course, the
I
very
can't lie.
teensiest
If I was one of
possibility
those
that the
cars, I
captain
would have been
wasn't 100% on the
hauling
ball at that particular
gas
moment.
to get to the other
After the
side. I don't want to
incident,
be
he was
stuck
tested for
on
his
this
blood
side. I want to be
alcohol
on the other
levels,
side.
and it turns out that this guy might have
Oh,
imbibed
okay,
a little
okay.
too much of an
All
adult
right.
beverage before heading off towards that bridge. It just
Drunk
goes to
driving a
show
boat.
those warning labels about impaired judgment might be onto something. It's going to be pretty difficult to explain how this crash happened, that's for
crazy.
sure.
Drunk driving a boat,
Number
bro.
7. Cargo ship crashed into bank of Shanghai's Hangpoo
It's a lot
River
of
on
overseas
Wednesday. You know how it goes. You're out for a nice evening stroll by the water, watching children trundle around on scooters,
What?
enjoying the warm summer night, when all of a sudden, a bloody great big boat
Bruh, no.
crashes into the bank. It's standard stuff.
No.
This cargo boat was caught on camera as it slammed into the Hangpoo River back in Shanghai, apparently after it had already
No,
had a bit
there's
of a
no
run-in
way.
with another vessel. That is a run of bad luck right there now, isn't it? After that first collision, the boat veered off towards the shore, where it finally came to a clattering and destructive stop.
That right there alone is outrageous.
That is a run of bad luck right there now, isn't it? After that first collision, the boat
It's crazy to me.
veered off towards the shore, where it finally came to a clattering and destructive stop wedged in the side of the quay. Fortunately, nobody was injured on either the boat or the riverside, and there it is,
That's good.
over and over again. You get to see it from a couple of angles.
That's actually good.
So consider yourself lucky. And yes, yet again, a boom. How about a few more times for good measure? Bam! Oh, and again, boom. Such fun. We really are spoiling you now, aren't we? Number 6. Cargo ship crashed and sank crane in China. Oh,
There we
crikey,
go.
not another crane calamity. Well, it turns out that if you drive your gigantic container ship into a dock, then yes, you can indeed create a ship show of epic proportions. That big old
boat
boat
lifting
beats
up?
the dock, that
No,
much
the
is
dock is
true.
going
But
down.
what about
Okay.
all the heavy machinery that's hanging around unattended on said dock? Well, yes again, the
boy.
ship wins. That bloody massive crane is done
It's
for,
all
and
going
so is
underwater,
everything
bro.
else that might have been cluttering up the dry land before this
Hopefully
ship
no
came
one was
along to
there.
perform a
Like,
valuable
hopefully.
scientific experiment for the good of humanity. And thank heavens that they did. Now we know, in no uncertain
The
terms,
question is,
what
do
will
heavy
happen
things
if you
sink or
plow a
float?
container
That's the
vessel
question,
into a
right?
port. So that's a relief
Because the
for
boat
us
is
all
floating,
now, isn't it?
but all of that stuff
Number
is sinking.
5. 2 ships collide head-on in Ontario's Welland Canal. Oh, come on now. Surely this is a rookie mistake. Just wait until you
Head
hear
on.
about this. I couldn't believe it either. 2 ships appeared to be traveling in opposite directions on the same side of the Welland Canal in Ontario, Canada.
Ew.
Seriously, I'm no expert,
What did
but
that
this
sound
must be
like?
the
We have
first thing you
audio? Is
learn
there
about
audio?
in boat school, and if it's not, then perhaps they need to have a look at the curriculum. Anyways, the whole dangerous head-on collision
think
was
red won.
obviously captured
Red
on
won won that
camera
one.
for you lucky people to
Red
enjoy. The two ships slowly and inevitably come together. It's kind of weird watching these intensely slow crashes, isn't it? They collide with each other in the middle
It's
of
like
the
watching
shipping
two
canal.
old people run at each other. There we go. That's the audio.
And then
Ugh.
seem to have a bit of argy-bargy about which one of them is going to win the joust. In the end, they both sort of unceremoniously push over to the bank of the canal and stop with uncannily sheepish expressions on their faces. Ships do have faces, I promise. Don't argue with me. Number
Don't
4,
argue with me.
crane crashes down on container ship in Vancouver Harbor. It's just one thing after another with all of
Feel
these
like we saw this
cranes.
video.
It's high time somebody learned to tidy those things up properly and stop leaving them around, cluttering
Either
up
that or
dock
use the same clip
sides and
twice.
pooping the party on the poop deck. This time we're in Vancouver Harbor in Canada, just enjoying yet another crane-based calamity. Are you having fun? Does this stuff really get you going? The accident involved a container ship that was docking at port when it came into contact with a crane. And we know how this story usually ends up for the crane, right?
It
The
doesn't look
crane
like a
arm
super
crashed down
bad
on top of the
disaster.
fully loaded ship and left more than a large dent in the top of several containers, causing some significant damage to the crane. It did manage to stay attached to the dock, though, so
there's no
that's a
video
better
of it, though.
outcome than most.
This is like
and
the
it seems that this
afterwards.
may have been the
Yeah, he
most
used the
exciting
second
thing
clip.
that had
He used
ever
the clip from
happened in
earlier.
Canada. However, and they sent the news helicopter out to send back minute-by-minute updates of that big old crane arm resting on top of the ship. How very thrilling indeed. Number 3.
Lackluster.
Bulk carrier crashes into historic mansion in Istanbul's Bosphorus. Well, whoopsie, this one must sting a bit. This is
Ooh,
some
a
shocking
historic
footage of a
mansion?
sizable cargo ship seemingly taking aim at a historic mansion and driving straight into it on the Bosphorus in Istanbul, Turkey. Obviously, when you put a huge ship up against a teeny house, you know who's going to come out as the winner
Someone
from
was in the
this
bathroom when
head-to-head.
this
You
happened.
have to hope that there was nobody home, though. The vessel
Yeah.
really did a number
Oh my
on that
gosh.
building. Luckily, there's a gaggle of boozed-up party people hanging out on a boat nearby with camera phones in one hand and
In
liquor in the other,
Istanbul.
so we can all watch the whole sorry affair unfold before our eyes. The official story is that the cargo ship had a rudder malfunction that caused it to lose control and smash straight into the 18th century
official
mansion
story.
on the water side. No injuries would be reported, and you'll be pleased to hear that not even a drop of booze
Who
was
owned that
spilled
house?
on the party boat during the whole kerfuffle.
Who owned that house? Who owned that house? Someone lives there. Someone lives there that guy driving the boat did not care for.
Woo, what a relief. Number 2. Cargo ship crashes into bridge and containers fall into water. Here's a collision in Rotterdam, Netherlands that manages to combine some of our all-time
Money
favorite
loss.
kinds of ship-based
Money
blunders,
loss.
all in one handy, easy-to-digest capsule of a video.
Are they not
Lucky
measuring
us,
this out?
we're witnessing the glorious sight of a container ship, first of all crashing into the bridge, then getting kind of wedged there, and then slowly and pathetically spilling some of its containers into the river. We've never been so
Do they ever
spoiled
retrieve
for
those
fun.
containers?
What
That's really the
deep
question.
joy this is. The ship was wedged there for the remainder of the day while they attempted to retrieve its now rather soggy cargo, unstick it from the bridge, and then
Okay.
set
Is
it
it
upon its
floating
way
away?
once again. Just how the vessel managed
Yeah.
to crash into the extremely bright red bridge is anyone's guess, but it probably has something to do with somebody getting their sums wrong somewhere along the line. Oh, those pesky numbers.
Of course.
They're such tricksy things. Number
Numbers
1.
don't lie, people.
Whale watching ship crashes into pier in San Diego.
All right. we brought it
Sometimes
home.
boats have
Brought it
mechanical
home.
malfunctions that can cause all kinds of mayhem. This whale-watching ship
Hornblower?
with the hilarious name
Clearly
of
did.
Adventure Hornblower found itself in a world of pain when its throttle became stuck in the full-on position. In a manner that's reminiscent of a cartoon caper, the 150-foot-long ship was headed towards San Diego's Embarcadero with no way of slowing down. The impact caused injuries to
It's a baby.
several
There's a baby.
passengers, as well as damaging the hull of the vessel and taking a hefty swipe at the dock, inflicting a big dent in a large portion of the brick walkway. Of the 144 people who were on board at the time, there were 7 who were injured. They were then sent to the hospital with neck, back, or leg injuries, and the rest were seen by medics at the dock and then released.
A lot of people were like, "Oh, now's the time."
Now again, this was a case of there being very little that could be done. When a large
Yeah.
boat's headed towards something, there's no way to stop or slow down until impact, and even then it can be difficult to rein in a runaway ship. The best
my
that the
God.
crew seemed to even be able to muster was to yell at everyone to hold on to something and brace for impact. Ah, such a fun one.
Wait. Wait. There are
To
people
hold on to something and brace
there are people literally sitting at the top waiting for it to crash. How many of those people were the people that were injured out of all of them? Out of the 7 people, how many of them were right there watching it happen? And there's 3 more people. Wait, what is with people? Bro, go to the back of the ship.
Race for impact. Ah, such a fun one. I hope that they at least saw some whales
wanted
that
front
day.
row tickets to
Well,
destruction.
gosh, what a big old pile of ship that all was. How did you enjoy all those lovely boat-based
Front
blunders
row
and ship-shaped
tickets to
shenanigans?
destruction.
I can tell you that my pet guinea pig Twinkle has never laughed harder, but she's a big fan of a spot of schadenfreude. How about you? Does all this misfortune set you rolling all over the floor with glee? Or are you mostly worried about the obvious lack of safety protocols in place in many of the world's
That
major
one.
shipping ports? It's
That
a
one.
divisive issue, I know. Let me know all about it in the comments down below, and let's shoot the ship together. And I know you can't wait to tell me how much you enjoyed all my lovely puns. Also, be sure to check out the other cool stuff showing up on the screen, and I'll see you next time.
Oh my gosh. So yeah. I'm more worried about the fact that no one's doing the math, or they're too drunk to do the math. But no one's doing the math. Like, bro, there's a bridge. The bridge does not alter in height. It might waver a little bit, so there are variations, but we are going to build a boat that's going to be a certain height and all these things. Like, do the math, do the numbers, do the work. Oh, watching disaster isn't fun, but it can be exhilarating, right? Like watching the head-on collisions and things like that. I'll watch it. I'll tune in because that was pretty outrageous. So yeah, no, what was your favorite one? I don't think I had a. It had to be the head-on, the red boat and the black boat. It had to be the head-on collision. That was the best one to watch. I thought it was gonna hit harder and sound louder, and it didn't. Now this is just crazy to watch because I've been on a boat one time in my life, and I'm getting ready to go again. So, you know, I won't be watching this before I leave. I know that. But yeah, man, this is something different. And if you're into it, let me know. We can get more of this going. But until next time, show love to the channel. Show love. Just show love, bro. Peace.
Perfect.